Murder mysteries seem to have risen in popularity the past number of years, with movies and shows taking both traditional and unconventional approaches to showing how a culprit is found. Adapting a book by Leonie Swan, The Sheep Detectives mixes a murder mystery in a small English town with a story involving sheep missing their owner. These are basically two separate storylines smashed together, and while inspired, the mystery plot ends up feeling a lot more interesting than the sheep trying to solve it. So interest tends to wane depending on which character is on screen, and some are more engaging than others. There is intrigue in learning about Hugh Jackman's murdered shepherd, and he provides the expected charm of his screen time. The film does establish the small nature of this town and everyone knowing each other, and there's particularly humor out of the way they try to make the town seem bigger than it is. The strongest component of the movie comes from Nicholas Brown as a policeman. He gets some humorous bits involving him trying to piece things together and proving his detective skills, and there is some interest in seeing how he resolves the case and tries to locate the culprit. Emma Thompson also stands out as a lawyer for her bringing the wit she is known for. The film cuts back and forth between the people and sheep trying to connect the two. However, the sheep don't become nearly as intriguing. While there are a few amusing gags and the animation on the sheep is impressive, the film tends to slow down when they're on screen, and there's a desire to cut back to the people. One of the more intriguing ideas is the sheep choosing to forget specific events, and the filmmakers don't hold back in putting the animals into distress at times. However, we mostly get a lot of scenes of them talking to each other or bumping into things, and their contributions to the mystery are not as intriguing as Officer Tim and his occasional befuddlement. Expectedly, the voice cast is filled with highly recognizable names. Bryan Cranston and Chris O'Dowd's voices are unmistakable, but that thankfully does not prove distracting. Cranston even at times seems to be channeling his previous voice role in Isle of Dogs. As the lead sheep Lily, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, is required to take charge. Louis-Dreyfus does fine in the role, even if Lily feels underwritten at times. You would think the sheep would provide more entertainment value, but it's instead the other way around. The Sheep Detectives is a curious and occasionally amusing film. However, it tends to meander during the sheep scenes, which feel like they come from a different movie than the one with the people trying to piece things together. The mystery itself has some clear twists and turns, with the red herrings being obvious a mile away, so there's not much for shock when everything is revealed. The inspired idea can only carry the movie so much, and even its funniest bits are not anything more than chuck-worthy. Despite those knocks against it, The Sheep Detectives makes for mildly pleasant enough viewing.